Okay, we're almost ready to go. Listen, there's a lot of stuff wrong with the audio around here. I have one microphone hooked up to the camera right now. I have this little lapel mic hooked up to my phone right now. And then I live right next to a train, and we have some neighbors that's on top of us. So if we do hear those guys up top throughout the course of the video, I'll just stop and wait till they're done so we can move on, because I know for a fact the audio will pick it up. But yeah, so let's go ahead and have some fun. If you ever see me look over here, just because I got a bunch of notes, direction of how I want this video to go. So how's everybody day? How y'all been? Y'all been good? I've been good. It's been a blessed day. The Lord is good always, forever, and forevermore he shall be good. So, hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today will be part 2 of the Houdini basics. We will go ahead and try to create a camera for you guys, explain the difference between some nodes and maybe some modeling techniques. I'm just trying to dive into as much basics that I think I need to cover. These are not all the basics. By all means, you can go out there to their website, check out some stuff, read some stuff, come on back to Houdini, learn some stuff, and then have some fun. But let's go ahead and dive into the tutorial. And the very first thing that I do want to do is just the very first thing that I want to do is explain what are nodes and what's the difference between this, the software such as Houdini and software like Autodesk Maya. So let's go ahead and dive into Autodesk Maya real quick. I have the scene set up for you guys and check it out. Forgot to add on this software. Yeah, software. So here inside Autodesk Maya, I'm gonna go ahead and create a cube and try to explain the difference between programs like Autodesk Maya and Houdini. This is not a Maya tutorial by any means necessary. This is just me trying to establish a point or get a point across. So if I wanted to go ahead and make changes to this cube, I can simply just click on it, go to faces, maybe click a face or something, go up here to edit mesh, maybe, I don't know, extrude it or something. This little gizmo pop up here. I can start pulling this out, go to this other face. I think the hotkey for that was Control E, another little thing. I can do this. And the only real history that we do have as far as all the changes that we just did to this cube is this panel over here. And even still then, this is completely gone once you go ahead and make the move. Here inside Autodesk Maya, a lot of people like to go ahead and go up here to edit, delete by type, and the history. Now all that stuff is gone and this model is what it is. If you don't believe me, I can go ahead and start, just start moving it around, rotating, whatever the case may be, and it is what it is. So this is where, in my opinion, Houdini shines. It's a motorcycle and my chair is like completely out of whack. So this is where Houdini shines at, because Houdini got that powerful procedural kind of system. Let me just show you. It's going to be better if I show you. I kind of set up this little file for you guys. I was going to go through and explain all these main nodes and stuff to you, but I won't go ahead and do that. Once again, I will go ahead and leave a link in the description below to where all this information is. I literally just copied and pasted over here. You guys can go out there, read for yourself, come back, have some fun with it. So I'm just move over here for a little bit. And what I'm going to do really quickly, don't even worry about what I'm about to, as far as all the nodes and stuff, I'm going to just create a box. And I'm gonna press enter on a keyboard. It's gonna create this geo for me. And what I'm gonna do is just dive into that geo and start making changes to this box, just as we did in Maya. Make sure that all things are good. Now mind you, before we go any farther, I'm not a modeling type of artist. I don't do that kind of stuff, very minimalistic modeling. That's what I do. I don't model houses and spaceships and everything like that. If I need anything like that, I go out online, buy it, download it, bring it back in. It's mine. So if I wanted to go ahead and do anything like far as changes to this cube like we did inside Maya, I can simply go up here to my faces, maybe select them all. Maybe go up here to the Polygon tab, extrude, and change this to individual elements. Maybe do something like this. Okay, I can even take this farther, maybe just select the one face, go back up here to Polygon, one face, Polygon, individual elements, maybe do something weird, I don't know, something like that. right? And as a finishing touch, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw down a transform node. And I don't know, maybe rotate this guy in such a weird way, maybe scale him up, not that massive. Something like that, you know? Let's just say we do have something that looks like this, whatever this is. I'm gonna just turn off the grid. It looks very, very weird to me, okay? So let's just say you don't like what you did. Now let's just say you're about 50 or 70 steps down the line and you do not like what you did. Well, this is where Houdini shines, because the simple fact, I can just go back to the very beginning of the cube and it is what it is. It's right there as we just, you know, created a box. Or I can go back to certain steps, like maybe I did like the very first edit, or maybe I did like the second edit. I can do that in Houdini. Well, let's just say, hey, you know what? I like what I did at first, but maybe I want to go ahead and do something different. Well, cool. I can just move this over, throw down this line, maybe throw in a transform, come over here, maybe, I don't know, scale it up this way, do something like this again, and then still make changes to these faces, individual elements, bring that in, bring it out, whatever the case may be. Now, mind you, once again, this is something completely brand new that we just did to the cube. Okay, mind you, so this is that second thing that we just did to the cube, followed by, you know, like a brand new path. Now, at any given point, I can go back to that very first step. I can go back to the cube and it's still there. I can go back to the very first couple steps that we just did to it. I still got this weird shape stuff going on. So this is where Houdini, in my opinion, shines over other 3D programs, because at a moment's notice, I don't care if you're setting up particle effects, tornado effects, destruction effects, you can always go back to certain steps, bypass some stuff, or just to see what things look like and see where you went wrong at. So that's pretty much the difference that I want to try to explain to you guys between software such as Houdini and other software out there like Cinema 4D, Maya, Blender, anything like that. So let's go ahead and back out, and I'm gonna go ahead and just delete this and try to explain my other stuff I got going on for you guys. So I think in that very first video, I think I just briefly explained these guys. I'm gonna go ahead and try to dive into this a little bit farther. So this down here is considered your node panel. This is your node panel for all your nodes, your network trees and all that good stuff. That's what we're gonna be doing here shortly. And up top, it's called your properties panel of the given selected node, meaning that, turn this guy back on, meaning that if I do create a box and just press enter, you can see with this box highlighted, I get some new attributes, some sort of new properties. So that's for anything. I can come over here and create a camera and I get more or different properties for the given selected node. I'm gonna just delete these guys. So that's very important. Go ahead and try to get familiar with this. Now the node panel is very, I guess, important as well. Like, say for instance, right? This stuff up here, I was gonna go ahead and explain it, but I'm gonna just try to touch on it just briefly. These are the different main nodes inside of Houdini. The nodes that we will be dealing with, like more than often, is this node right here called SOP. Where's it at? SOP. SOP is pretty much your geometry nodes. That's all things dealing with geometry in Houdini. I don't care if you go out there online, buy a house, buy a character, buy a bridge, I don't care. If it's a 3D model, you go ahead and bring it inside Houdini, it is still inside this category of SOP. So let's say for instance, right? If I can go ahead and create this box, just press enter on the keyboard, you can see what the program is calling your node. It's calling it like a geometry node. But here, you kind of see this little object level. That's where we are. We are considered at object level. If you go ahead and click on this panel here, these are all the little different kind of main levels that you can go ahead and get into. Right now, we created a SOP geometry node. The node is nothing more at this level, just a container for what is inside your node, if that makes sense. I think I'm saying node too much, but that's pretty much what it is. Like at this level, at your object level, at your node panel, this certain node that we just created, which is a SOP node is nothing more but just a container for the geometry that's inside the node. Meaning that if I double click, I am now inside this node, right? And you notice when I'm assigned this node, our level done changed into object to geometry. We at the geometry level at the node panel. That's where we at. So, and if you notice, if I hover over this node, we are presented with a couple different little gizmos or icons. So let's go ahead and just touch on this very quickly. So our very first one, we got this kind of eye icon, and that's very, self-explanatory. If you go ahead and hover over it, it'll pretty much tell you what it is. But it's just your display icon for all things that you want to go ahead and view inside your viewport. You just click on the icon. To the left of that, you kind of got this little downwards yellow arrow, and that's just arrow. To the left of that, you kind of got this downward yellow arrow, and that's just your bypass arrow. So like I was explaining previously, like when we go ahead and start creating particle effects and all that good stuff, we can go back to our network and just bypass certain things that we don't want to see. Not necessarily delete it, but we just don't want to see it. So that's pretty much what that is. The other icon is your lock icon, and this one is just your template. So if you want to see two nodes at the same time inside your viewport, I'll show you that here in a minute. The next node that is very, very important is this kind of little eye. It's just like a information about this given node. And if you click on it, you're presented with a box that looks like this. So mind you what I said in that very first video, Houdini, how can I explain this? One of the main cores in Houdini is the ability to create custom attributes. And those attributes will be presented here, followed by all sorts of other information about your points, perimeters, polygons. This stuff can be very important because once we go ahead and start diving into it and you understand it a little bit better, you can go ahead and start optimizing this stuff to fit your computer system. Like we can go ahead and start, creating this complex stuff, but then convert it down to at least 1,000 polygons or 1,000 this and 1,000 that, as far as the system RAM on your computer, your CPU, whatever. Have some fun with it. But we're gonna go ahead and dive into that a little bit later on. And the next thing that I do want to go ahead and show you guys is pretty much some Polygon modeling techniques or tools, whatever. Now mind you, this is not a video that's going to be all things modeling in Houdini. I don't model, like I said once before. I just don't have the time for it. But for all you guys out there that may be interested in modeling, I'm going to go ahead and show you some tools, and then you can go out there online, check it out for yourself, come on back and have some fun. So we created this box, right? And you've seen some of the little tools and everything that I'm going to go over, the same tools inside the at the beginning of the video. So that's pretty much what we're about to do. So if I want to go ahead and model this box or something like that, or make changes to this geo, I can simply, in fact, let me just delete this. I think I went a little bit too far. Let me just delete this, right? So here we are back at object level, node panel, object level. And if I want to create a box or something, there's a couple different ways of doing it. The two main ways that we're going to go ahead and do it is just click on the shelf, or come over here, hit tab on the keyboard and start typing in geo for geometry SOP. Now this won't create geometry for you at the object level. You must dive into it and then type in box, sphere, whatever, you have it. You go back out, go ahead and delete that. This way, when you go ahead and click on, I don't care where one of these things is, I don't like a sphere or something, it's pretty much going to ask you, hey, you know what? We're at a 3D space inside your viewport. Do you want me to go ahead and place this object? Now I can click around and sure, it's going to place it somewhere in 3D space for me. But let's say I don't want that. Let's say I want it at the very origin of the scene. I can simply go up here and click it and hit enter on the keyboard, and it's at the origin of the scene. And if you notice, it created a SOP geometry node for us. Mind you, this is just a container. You can't really do any kind of model and stuff here at this level. You have to go in it and do changes, edits, and all that stuff in there. So that's one way of doing things. The way that I'm pretty much going to be working in Houdini, at geometry level, I'm going to be, not geometry level, at the object level, I will be typing in like a geo node. And mind you, once again, that's just tab, geo, lay it down, go in, and then whatever I want to do from this point. That's how I will be doing it. There's nothing wrong with clicking these little buttons up here. That's fine too. So let's just say I do want to go ahead and make changes to the sphere and have some fun with it. So here are just some of the modeling basics. These are not all things, but I'll just show you some stuff that I do know how to do in Houdini as far as when it comes to modeling. So if I want to go ahead and model some of these spheres, first of all, I don't ever work with the perimeter type in primitive. That's a little bit weird for me. I usually go down here to polygons. You can see that the shape and all that stuff has been changed. Here in Houdini, the subdivision is called frequency. As you can see, when I crank up this, I get more and more geometry to make it more and more smooth. So I can probably keep it at 2. Keep it at 2 for now. I'm just going to go ahead and show you some extrusions and all that stuff, right? So if I wanted to go ahead and start extruding some of these faces, I can simply come over here, these little icons up here. I'm just go over these little 3. This very first one is your points, your edges, and your faces. I got my selection tool right now inside my viewport, and as you can see, as I go through the different faces on this geometry, is highlighting different faces and stuff for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click. Well, right now I got this thing enabled. I don't know what this thing is called directly. I think it's, yeah, selection hole geometry. But if you don't have that enabled, you can simply just click and it is just select certain faces and all that stuff for you. If you do have it enabled, even if you click, come up here, it's going to select the whole thing. If you don't select the whole thing right away, and if that's still enabled, select the whole thing for you. So that's what I want to do. I do want to go ahead and select all faces at this moment, just to go ahead and show you some stuff. You can go ahead and hover over these different icons and mess around with it to see what it does. That's fine. But for this point, I'm going to just do this real quick. I'm gonna come up here to my left shelf tab, go over here to polygons. Just go ahead and extrude. This little node is created for me automatically, and we are presented with different properties as far as this node. So I'm gonna go up here to my divide into, change this to individual elements, change the inset, and probably do something like this. Maybe extrude it out, maybe twist it or something in a way. Maybe do that. Twist a little bit more, and we got the subdivision level. As I crank up the subdivision, you can kind of see what's happening. Go ahead and click on this, hit escape on your keyboard, hold down Alt again, and right or left click on your mouse and start moving around to see exactly what's been done to your object there. So we created this weird looking shape thing. That's fun. Some more stuff that I do want to go ahead and show you guys is how to delete, but let's go ahead and talk about how to select certain faces, like an edge loop or, you know, selection loop. Let's go ahead and just talk about that really quickly. I'm gonna come back up here to my sphere, and I'm gonna just get rid of this guy really quickly. The way how you go ahead and get rid of this pipe, that's what I'm going to call it, just a pipe wire, whatever. You can simply just click down here and click away as this thing. Okay, let me do this one more time. Click down here and this little line comes up, and click away over inside some sort of gray area. It kind of goes away. And another way to doing that is pressing Y on the keyboard. It kind of brings up this little cutting tool, as you can see the icon, and just cut. That's one way. I'm gonna go back up here to the sphere. I want to show you guys how to delete polygons, because Houdini does this weird thing where it uses groups to delete polygons, and if you're not used to that, it can get a little bit confusing. So if I wanted to go ahead and delete some faces, right? Let's just say I want to turn off this select whole geometry option, and let's just say I do want to go ahead and switch this to like polygon mesh or something, right? And I do want to go ahead and change up the different I guess views inside this viewport. So we can go up here to this perspective thing, this set view, and we got our different viewports. I'm gonna go to my front, or correspondingly you can press 3 on your numpad. That's the thing. I'm gonna go here into this selection tool. I'm gonna go ahead and back out a little bit. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna click and hold and drag. Well, I don't want those guys, but I want these guys. Click, hold, and drag, come back to my perspective view. We can correspondingly press 1. And then you see how I got the bottom selected, right? So I'm gonna have my mouse over here inside the viewport. Now on your keyboard, if you got a standard keyboard, you can just hit the backspace. And my keyboard, I got to do something funky, and you can see what happens, that this blast node is created for us. But inside our properties panels, look how Houdini is identifying what to delete. So we got this group kind of, option everything for us, and it selected a range of polygons from 144 to 287. That's just the faces. Now mind you, I think on the very first tutorial, I talked about this tab here. This is called your display tools. And if you go ahead and click this little, what is this, like a number icon thing going on here, you can kind of see how Houdini is numbering your points, and these points can correspond to the given faces as well. So that's how Houdini is deleting stuff as far as geo and everything else that we're going to be doing in Houdini. When we needed to delete certain stuff, we can go ahead and use this data to delete certain stuff. But back up here inside this, geo node, I can simply just, I don't know, start to invert some stuff with this button here. And you can click around with all this just to see what it does. Let's just say we did have this blast node and everything here. And let's just say we do still want to have that extrusion twist stuff happen. Well, we didn't delete it, we just disconnected it. So we can go ahead and just pipe it right back in and come down here and see what it does. It does this weird thing. Kind of looks like a crazy looking flower. So if you're into that, sure, that's cool, that's great. The other thing that I did want to show you is how to select like an edge loop or selection loop. So let's just say I want to go ahead and show you how to select different faces, right? So it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit tricky. I can't just, let me make sure this button is not selected. I can't just double click on something. It's going to double click and select the whole thing for me. What I have to do is hold down A, and then with your middle mouse button here, and then press your, like middle mouse button, and you can see how it selected all the given loop of the faces. Go ahead and do that one more time for you guys. Hold down A, press, hold down A, and then middle mouse click. That's how you select loops. You can do that with edges and all that stuff. That's the same kind of little technique there. So the next thing that I do want to go ahead and show is how to create cameras. Cameras can be very tricky in Houdini. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So here I am back at the object level. One of the ways, or quick and easy way that you can go ahead and create a camera in Houdini is just to go up here to your right shelf and click on camera. So the same thing with our box. Houdini will present you with some sort of coordinates inside your 3D scene view and ask you exactly where in 3D space do you want this camera to be placed. Now I could just click and it's at some sort of location. I don't know. So I'm gonna just delete this guy really quickly. My delete button does not happen. I have to keep. Another way that you can go ahead and do it, you can come over here to your object view, tab on the keyboard, and my tab is not working. Tab. Keyboard died. Hit tab on the keyboard, camera, and just lay it down. And what that will do is place your camera directly at the origin of the scene. If you don't believe me, let's just go ahead and turn off the display view for both of our geo nodes. And here we have our camera. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and delete that really quickly. Go ahead and bring back our geo and our grid. The way that we will be creating the stuff in Houdini as far as the camera stuff, or the way that I like to go ahead and create it in Houdini, let me just move this over really quickly. Go up here to this no cam, drop down, new camera. So what that does is pretty much create the camera at the given current frame of our perspective view camera, if that makes sense. Let me show you. Let me just try to explain it to you. So if I move the scene around, but I want a camera here, so I can just go up here to no cam, or yeah, no cam to new camera, and it create the camera at this given position of our 3D perspective camera. So we can change this, I don't know if you want to main cam. And if you hit space while you're changing stuff, Houdini will automatically lay down that little underline score thing for you. It's just a no cam. I can hit space as many times as I want to. It's pretty nice. Hit main cam, but the tab that I do want to go ahead and go over is just this view tab. So this is the main tab where we will be doing most of our stuff. This is where you get to change up your display resolution. I like to work in 1920 by 804. And then the next tab that's usually important for me is to change up our focal length. We go back into here because I skipped a step. Is to change up our focal length. So right now the default is at 50. I can change this to 35 or do whatever I want to. I am in my camera, and you can tell that by these little gray little areas right now. So if I try to move you can see I get kicked out of my camera. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go back into it by selecting the same no cam. Go down to my main cam that we just created a name. We'll try to move a little bit and I'll get kicked out of my camera. So Houdini got this weird little thing that it does. What you need to do is click this lock camera and then start to move around. And you can see as I'm moving around and even letting go, our camera is being changed. We're still in it. It is what it is. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to cover inside this video. I just want to go ahead and talk about how to create a camera, like the many different ways to create a camera. The difference between software like Houdini and software like Autodesk Maya, Blender, C4D, and maybe just some, some sort of modeling tools and techniques. Now, once again, like I said, I'm not a modeler by any means necessary. I will leave that link in the description below for you guys that like the model and all that stuff. We will be doing some more basic videos because there's some stuff in there that I do want to go ahead and show you guys of how to create custom attributes, groups, normals, velocities, and all that stuff. And once we go ahead and cover all that, then I will feel a little bit better by just jumping into particle systems and destruction VFX and getting a little bit more technical with some stuff. We may even do some basic little expressions that people use throughout their process dealing with Houdini. So make sure that you guys are like, comment, you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We are pushing 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. I am very, very excited to go ahead and break through that little milestone. So thank you guys. That's the end of the tutorial video. We will go ahead and do the daily dose of Jesus section. So I love you. Okay, so we won't end off the video right away. This is that daily dose of Jesus section. If you're not familiar about how I'm doing this, I usually have the Bible app installed on my phone, and it usually go ahead and give me the verse of the day. If you can see it right here. There we go. I usually go ahead and keep it inside the NLT translation. That's the New Living Translation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and read off the verse of the day to you guys, and then tell you a story from the Bible, and let's talk about it and see how it can impact our life or anybody's life for that matter. So the verse of the day is 2 Corinthians 3:17. The verse of the day says, "For the Lord is the Spirit, and wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." So the story that I do want to tell you guys is the story of a man from the Bible, and this man had wealth and power. I'm about to paraphrase a little bit because I don't have the text right here in front of me, so I can tell you guys word for word for what it means. But it's a man of wealth and power, and he had so much wealth and power and abundance of things that he had servants inside his own home. Whatever this man laid his eyes on, he withheld nothing from himself. Meaning that he lived his life like, hey, you know what? If I see it, I get it because I got it like that. Like, I see it, cool. I got it like that. I'm not about to tell myself, no, I got it like that. But he had so much stuff inside his home, different things, that he said, I'm going to try to put some of my stuff inside the barns and the sheds outside. And he tried that. And when he seen that those barns and sheds cannot hold his stuff, that he told himself, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and tear down these sheds and build new ones to hold my stuff. And he did just that. And when he got finished, he made a covenant with his own soul in his heart. He told himself, heart, do not be troubled. Do not worry. For we have enough things to last us a lifetime. Meanwhile, the town is just struggling and this, he never shared nothing like that. He was just freaking out. And not only that, in the meanwhile of having all this stuff and acquiring all these good things, not once did he give all the honor and all the praise or thank the Lord once. But the Lord heard what he said to his own soul, his own heart. And the Lord came to him. And I'm about to paraphrase a little bit, but the Lord came to him and said that since you have not thanked me once for all the things that I have done for you and all the things that I have given you tonight, not 2 days from now, not 5 years from now, not 15, not 30, but tonight, I shall require in thy soul. So the Lord took his life. And the text tells us that the Lord even asked him after taking his life, now who shall have thy things? So what I'm trying to get at with you guys is that we live in a day where everybody is trying to live this lifestyle like, hey, you know what? I got to make as much money as possible. Hey, you know what? I got to have as many things as possible. Hey, you know what? Those things that I do have got to be better than my neighbors. They got to be better than my friend, my mom, my brother, my sister. And there's nothing wrong with having resources. There's nothing wrong with having things. But as a believer in Christ Jesus, God Almighty, we have to realize that we came into this world skin and bones. We will leave this world skin and bones. If you do not believe me, rest their soul, may God rest. Wake up Elvis Presley. Wake up Michael Jackson. Ask them, how many things did they leave behind? I guarantee you they'll say they left it all. Do not get caught up in things that we do see. Do not worry about how somebody is living their life, wicked or good. Do not do that. But instead, give thanks and honor to God in all things. Praise Him for all things, because mind you, there's somebody out there that's way worse. We must pray continuously, pray for protection, and pray for guidance, because the same way how the Lord does not rest, He does not slumber. We have an enemy that's in common between me, you, your mom, your great ancestors, the people that's going to come after me, the people that are here with me today. We have that same one enemy that's in common. That's more cunning and decisive than a two-edged sword. And he wants you, he wants me, he wants my future children, he wants your cousin, he wants your dad, he wants your family, he wants your joy, he wants the plans that the Lord have over your life. And if you're not careful, we can get caught up in that. We can lose our way. So that's pretty much the word of the day that I want to go ahead and share with you guys. I love you guys. I will definitely see you in the next one. We will dive into Houdini a little bit further and have some fun.